What's up, world? Looks like we got this cranked up already. We ain't got to waste much time. Let me go ahead and bring my guest in, y'all, and then we're going to get it popping. Let's see. Admit it. All right. Just getting this thing loaded. Rose Glen in the building.
Can you
hear
me?
Yo.
You can't see me though?
Do it where it says share the video. It should be an option where you can share a video.
Yeah, give me one up. There we go. There we go.
Oh, look at that, man. We're in the studio.
Always.
Nah, dude. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Jay Tronius, and you once again are gabbing with the Guvna. Without further ado, I want to go ahead and have my partner introduce himself. Man, who are you, where are you, and what are you about, brother?
I love you, buddy. I'm John Aveni. I run Rose Glen Productions. I'm a photographer, videographer, video director, digital creator, whatever the case, calls for at the time. So I do a lot of things, a lot of music stuff. That's how we know each other.
Yeah.
I'm in Boston or South Shore of Boston, Stoughton, Massachusetts, to be exact.
Nice.
Chilling, man, at the home office. What's up with you, buddy?
Man, I'm out here in Texas, man, out here in the country, out here in my hometown of Sherman, Texas, man, and it was time for me to go ahead and start flexing on the world, with all the people, amazing people I've crossed paths with, including yourself, and get it documented, man. It's time to document this shit. So here we are.
We here, buddy. So what's the deal? What's new with you? How country is it where you live, actually? Like how many people live in your town or city?
Now I live in what was the Twin Cities, Sherman, Texas, Denison, Texas, and they call them the Twin Cities. They both have around 35 to 40,000 people in them.
Oh, it's about the size of where I'm at.
Where I am at is literally like in between the two cities, and there's literally like around the corner from me. There's definitely many pastures with cows and horses, longhorns, and there is a Red River Cowboy Church around the corner from where I'm. That's how country it is out here.
Okay. Yeah, I never been out that way. I was just curious, man. You said you was in the country, and I was like, how country is it out there?
I'm literally like about 10 minutes away from Oklahoma. They call this area Texoma.
Okay.
So it's interesting, man. Now, apparently we know you've been in the film game for many years. You're definitely one of the prominent videographers out there in the beam. I always saw your ass with a camera. Tell us how that started, man. Walk us through your journey of getting into that, why and how you got into it, and where it's gone since.
I got into it in high school, I'd say. You know how there's always like a class or two classes that are just like the classes you fuck off in, and you just got all your boys are in it, and it's just the funnest class of the year. So that happened to be a TV production class where I had like all my best friends in it, and the teacher was the most laid back, and at like 15, that's kind of like that's the ideal situation in high school, right? Is the class you can kind of just sit on the computer, do whatever. This was right around. I'm 29, so this was right around the birth of YouTube, like right around the beginning of YouTube. So immediately I started thinking, I can upload videos I make here to YouTube. And that's part of the class, what we were doing.
Wow.
So right away, in there, I realized how fun it was to manipulate things, what people said and make it, immediately I started just like, I was kind of like a rebellious little kid. So I was just making stuff that was good for like the class, but was like detrimental to the way the school would look. Like I was making fun of how they over punished kids and stuff, but I was doing it in like a cinematography type of way, and would make them happy and this teacher happy and make the administration so like I realized how quick you can manipulate what people say and control the narrative your own, and that's what I really loved about it. So I bought a camera right after high school, and then started shooting, just had some friends who were making music, started shooting, photos of them, stuff like that. Eventually someone was just like, I'll pay you to come shoot a little video for here, and I'll give you $100 to do this, and that's how it started, just favors and having fun with it. And then finally, enough offers came in where you're like, oh, maybe I should start a business. And it kind of, I still do a bunch of shit for free. I still, what I mean? It's still a hobby. It's still fun. It's my career now, but, well, not at the moment, but yeah, it is. So, I mean, it took me, I didn't predict this. This wasn't part of the plan. It just was fun, and it turned out, it worked out. So here we are.
Man.
Long story long.
I tell you what, man, like I said, man, I've seen you, man. We crossed paths many times in Boston. We've worked together since, and I know we plan on working more when it all makes sense. And so, where did Rose Glen come from? Tell me about Rose Glen, the name. Where did you get that from?
So that was Rose Glen's a street I grew up on, Rose Glen Street. So that was kind of like, I had the cool parents, the laid back parents where everyone would come and hang out. So my house was like the place to be. So just became kind of like, like a crew thing. And then, people were like just referring to my house as Rose Glen, and that area, that block as Rose Glen. And then it became, I was like, oh, that's a cool name for a company. I'll name the company that. And then, because it was a Facebook name or something, people just assumed it was an alias. So then, when you meet people through this avenue, they start calling me Rose or like Glenn or Rosie or whatever. And, like you probably still call me Rose, or, you call me John sometimes maybe, but like most people call me, at least that I know through music and stuff like that.
I'm definitely calling you Rose Glen. And like you just reminded me that you actually have a different name, and like I just automatically call you in my brain, in my phone, you are Rose Glen, and that's how it's been. I'm sure it's like that with a lot of people.
Yeah, it's funny. One day I used to go to the gym with Lateb and the Headshots guys, and one day I wasn't there, and they had the lady change my name in the computer from John to Rosie. So then, when I would go back and it would be a different lady there, she's like, I'd give her my info and she'd be like, Rosie? All confused. And then I'm confused because I didn't know it was that, you know what I mean? So it was funny. But yeah, do call me that. It was never supposed to be an alias. It was more of a company name. You know what I mean? I guess that give yourself a nickname, right?
Yeah, it works. So. It worked. We know who you are. Whatever the hell we call you, we know who you are and what you do, man.
Appreciate
now
that,
tell
bro.
people, man, what all is involved with your productions? Like, we know you have the camera. What all do you do, and what do you like doing?
That's a good question. What do I like doing, and I do it all now because it'd be silly to turn down, money, and there's just so many different avenues now with Facebook ads and Instagram and every little company being able to advertise and spend whatever they want on it. So it opens up more doors for me, in the corporate world and stuff like that. So what I like to do, I like to shoot people. I like portraits. I like, concerts. I like, I don't do a lot of it, but sports. I've done some boxing and MMA and stuff like that. Like anything where like, there's emotion, there's people, stuff like that's always unique. You're never going to get the same image. I really like capturing that. I love music stuff. And the last 5 years I've fallen into the beauty industry heavily. And I've been doing a lot of traveling and working different, big beauty events and conferences. And then, some work for a friend of mine who launched an educational app. Education's huge in that industry. So I'm really enjoying those two, the beauty industry and the music industry, really. And recently those worlds have collided because my buddies are doing pop-up barbershops at music festivals backstage for bands and crew and stuff. So now these worlds are, completely colliding, and all the connections I've made on this side of things are starting to make sense and become useful over here, and vice versa. So it's really all coming full circle, or it was right before, the beginning of this whole pandemic. Because
before Dorona, I call it Dorona, and I call it the plandemic.
Yeah, pretty much, bro. I felt like everything was going just how it should. Like everything was finally, after 10 years of doing this, everything was like just starting to fall into place. And I can't complain because a lot of people got it worse, but I felt like I was finally, everything was starting to make sense, so like that's what I like doing. I do it all. I was doing a lot of weddings. I was doing a lot of like like not a lot, but some streaming gigs for like uh, what I don't know what seminars, I guess, for lack of a better word, maybe smaller types of seminars, things that companies want to, whatever I can do really that will pay. I like to try to do more expensive gigs in the corporate world so I can do shit and afford to do shit for free or cheap for my artist friends who don't have big budgets behind them. So it's a balance.
I hear that. Who are some of the who are some of your favorite people that you've got to work with? Who have you worked with, and who are some of your favorites?
In terms of the musicians or artists in that world,
Whatever.
whatever. Uh, it's I work with a lot of my friends. I think that's the best part is that a lot of the Headshots guys, Lateb and those guys. It's so fun to work with them because they trust me with whatever. Even if it's something that's not very creative, they just trust it's just easy to work with them. I dig their music. They're right down the street. So there's we collab on a lot of stuff. I like recently I've really enjoyed, the festival stuff because I've gotten to shoot bands and, utilize those hair connections in the hair world and the beauty world. So that was kind of the best of both worlds to me. I get to shoot content for both of kind of my gigs, both portfolios in the same time. And, a lot of higher caliber, artists, I guess you'd say, because it's all, festivals and things like that, big bookings, whether I listen to them or not, they're popular to somebody. So I was really enjoying that. And honestly, every gig I've done in the hair and beauty industry, like they pay right on time. They're super courteous, like all expenses paid, no questions asked, very nice people, easy to get along with. The guys who took me to Paris last September, this company, OMC Hair World, they are probably the best, client I've ever had in terms of, they're just super courteous and just, hospitable and tipped me very well and took care of me and made sure I was, good and all that stuff. So
Yeah,
people
man.
like that, anytime you feel appreciated, it's good. I think it could be anything. It depends, but musician wise, yeah, it's my thing, for the most part, because a lot of stuff is stuff I did for free that I was just like, I need pick someone come over, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I like getting stuff done quick. I don't love huge projects. I feel like I fall out of love with stuff too fast, I
Just
need
keep
to
on.
just keep
I
it
call
going.
that zip zap. So you got to keep it in the zip zap. If it ain't
Pretty
zip
much.
zapping, it ain't happening for Rose Glen, y'all. So y'all need to know that. Y'all need to
Mm-hmm.
know that. Keep it pushing, man. What do you see what would you like to see in the future with everything? Like what do you want this to grow into?
That's a tough question, man. I struggle all the time with what's the real direction here. What do I want out of this? Because I look at myself and I'm balancing, some days I'm studying over here, taking a class on, some aspect of photography. And then the next day I'm taking a class on some aspect of color grading for film. And I'm looking at myself and I'm like, I'm not really using my time wisely in terms of trying to be the best at anything. Here I am kind of trying to be good at everything instead of just trying to be the best filmmaker or the best portrait photographer or the best thing I can be, So it's tough. It's been a struggle because I love doing it all. And I never wanted to know what I was doing. I didn't want to be a camera operator forever and know, like, you're just going, like, it's just, to me, not that that's a bad job or anything like that. That's really dope. And some of those people are like, get paid a shit ton of money. But I guess my point with that is I don't want to know what I'm doing day to day. I like that some days I'll be in a barber shop, some days I'll be at a big hair event, some days I'll be at a hole in the wall show, someday I'll be at, a dive bar or like a huge festival. So I like to keep it diverse. My goals would be to just, increase value, to the brand, bigger budget projects, spending, a little bit more time or mostly more pre-production and thought on projects rather than, kind of just going at things because we only have like $1,000. And if I got to pay somebody, that's one day at work, So like you paying two people and then editing time, it's like I end up working for minimum wage and people don't even see that. So like It's tough, man. It's tough to balance, but I forget the original question because I've talked so long.
Bruh, I mean, basically what you're telling me, man, is that you ultimately still after all these years, you love what you do and you just see where the love takes you.
Pretty much, man. Yeah, I'd love to have a more definitive plan. I feel like I'm just coasting by and have been, but I do feel like every year is getting better in terms of, opportunities and in terms of my work. And I look at work from my last week and I'm like embarrassed by it. So that's how I know I'm always getting better.
So
But
you're always trying to outdo your last project.
yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. And I feel like the stuff that takes the least amount of time is usually the stuff that falls together the best, which usually makes it better than the stuff I spend a ton of time on because I overthink that. Like I said, I fall out of love with it. Then I end up rushing it by the time I just want to get it done.
Bro, it's funny, man. I was just in another interview. We were talking about that where me and my partner, I always got to put myself in the mentality of I've never reached my peak. I've never reached my peak. I never will. So I always got to keep climbing to reach a peak I'm never going to reach.
The destination is the journey, right?
That's it, man. That's it, bro. So what can we say? We say, it's pretty free form at this point. I'm going to ask you this question that I ask everybody. When it's all said and done, right? When it's all said and done, what do you want to leave? What is the Rose Glen Production legacy? What do you want to leave the world with?
If we're looking 50 years, 40, 50 years, ahead of time, I think it would probably be, feature films with some sort of legacy in the cinematic where in the film world or in even lesser, even in just the music video world, even being some sort of, go-to creative in that field. But then again, I tell you straight up 10 minutes ago that I'm not really been putting my best foot forward when it comes to trying to be the best at that. And there are tons of people that are. So for me to say that's what I want to leave and then tell you in the same breath that I'm not really working at it is like, whatever, take it for what it is. But I guess ideally, feature films, I guess is the, cream of the crop for any filmmaker, so I guess that would be the goal. But I haven't even made a lot of short films because I'm not much of a writer. And, I'm able to kind of take the same cinematic direction I have some for certain music videos if I want, or other sorts of things. I still get to use the stuff I'm learning in other ways without having to make a film per se. You know what I mean?
Fair
So
enough.
I'm not even, there yet. There's no doubt in my mind that I could direct one or, whatever, pretty much produce one. But I don't know if I need to collab with, the right person needs to hit me with a script or, the opportunity just needs to be right. I've always liked documentaries, kind of feel like maybe I get in that field. I got presented kind of a crazy opportunity, just fell on my lap the other day. That I'm feeling out right now in regards to, a story that this person is close to home for them and they think needs to be told. And I'm trying to figure out, is this something I want to jump into or not? Because, you got to be on the right side you can't, I don't want to jump on, it's a sensitive subject. So you can't just jump in on the wrong side of things, because this guy paid, you claim a side and then your whole brand gets looked at as like you side with, this type of thing. So you got to be careful. But I mean, legacy wise, man, it would be just, it'd be art that people are still talking about after I'm gone, I guess would be it. Whether that be movies or that be, um, something in the music field or even in the beauty field. I mean, we were nominated for an award, just last month in New York. We didn't win, but, top 5 out of hundreds globally, maybe even thousands. So, stuff like that. I'm just trying to just get, keep progressing, I guess. The legacy, like I said, the cream of the crop would be features or something like that, but it doesn't have to be that. I guess I need clear goals is what you're getting out of me.
Well, I just make people think, man. That's what this is about is sharing your
Right.
journey with the rest of people and making you think about it. Like I'm the governor of the galaxy, man. So part of me when I tell people that I'm literally in my mind hovering over the Milky Way and looking at this whole thing go down. So I'm
Right.
always, and it's a symbolism of me always looking at the bigger picture. So that's
Right.
part of what I share with my people, and that I share with you. Now, what is Rose Glen Productions just you, or do you have a team?
So I started out with a couple people and then you know, one of them ended up moving out of the country, and one of them kind of does his own thing. Now, let me turn this off. Does his own thing in terms of, you know, he had a job the whole time. I never really had a job, so this was always my thing. You know, when I was first starting out, I was 18 or 19. I was just getting by doing, you know, what 18, 19-year-old kids do and stuff, you know. So like then I just started making money, like a little bit of money, and I felt it, you know. So I just never really had a real job. This guy, you know, I started out with, you know, he had a job, he was doing his thing. So we kind of just like we're still really good friends, and we were friends way before that. You know, he DJs a lot now. He still takes pictures a little bit, but like we ended up just going our own separate ways in terms of business. So technically, it's just me, but I do almost all of my shooting, at least anything with a decent budget, with my buddy Danny, whose studio we work out of all the time. You might have seen a lot of pictures and videos from there, but I do a lot of work with him. He's super knowledgeable. He's relatively new to filming and everything like that, but he's way smarter than me when it comes to engineering and technicalities and the specs and knowledge and shit of certain, you know, everything to do with film. So he's an amazing set of hands. He's got an amazing bunch of gear. You know, he's a smart dude. He's like super helpful. He's the one I shoot. If you see me shooting something, I'll probably be with him. Yeah.
That's
But
what's up.
as far as, you know, technically and on paper, it is, you know, it is just mine. I don't have employees or anything as much as I probably should. My mother managed a bank for years, so I got her to help with a lot of the accounting stuff and things of that nature. So that's convenient. But that'd probably be the first person I'd have to hire if, you know, I did have to have someone else do that, would be someone to just keep all that paperwork in order, because that's not really my thing.
I hear that. And speaking of, as you just light up, man, uh, I think both of our companies have been synonymous with the weed culture. Tell us a little bit about the seaweed thing you got going on.
Okay. So honestly, we shelved probably our best project like 2 years ago. And I think we did it because of what I was just telling you. I think it was mainly I did it because I was the editor. I think mainly I did it because I was so in love with the idea and so in love with the content, but we kind of messed up a couple things production wise because it was our first time around. And I want it to be perfect, but it's not perfect, but it's still you know what I mean? It's still very worthy of a release. So I'm revisiting that, which is a blind dating show where two people go on a blind date over 500 milligram infused dinners.
Oh man.
So 4 courses at 125 milligrams a course. So you watch them steadily get way higher, you know, and it's fucking gold. The date was about 3 hours long. I edited it down to about 35 minutes. Um, it's a great episode. I'm looking forward to getting that out because I got about 5 trailers on my YouTube. You can search Anahata, talking to Anahata, and you'll find probably 5 trailers. It's good, man. I'm really proud of that. You know, production wise, I think we could have done a little better, but again, we weren't in the room. We were handling all the cameras remotely because we didn't want to be invasive on a date. We wanted them to kind of feel like they could be them. So, you know, there's some spots where things go out of focus a little bit, and you know, the camera was on a rig that we had never used before, so it was a little shaky when it was in motion and stuff. But other than little things like that you guys probably won't even care about, it's fucking gold. It's probably my favorite thing. And I think the idea as a whole, I think the way it came out, I think the two people who were on the blind date were like a match made in heaven in terms of comic, you know, content. That's what we're doing. We're up, you know, the winter time we usually do the yikes movement, which is, you know, extreme sports meets cannabis. So it's we rent out the biggest indoor skate park in Massachusetts because it's wintertime and all our friends can't skate outside and shit. And we have a wagon pull up like a big ass camper, and we just smoke that out with dabs and everything. And
Mm.
you know, we have a Honeycomb Farm sponsors with all their, you know, from Maine. They got all their product, their legal farm up in Maine. They sponsor all the dabs and everything like that. Italia Vargas Insurance is a company that's been holding us down. They cover all the costs as far as renting the skate park and stuff like that. And they feed everybody with their budget they give us. So we give it all right back. But that's another movement we were doing before winter. Before Christmas, we did a big toy drive at our last event. So that's more of a wintertime thing. And then we got hit with this. So that's been on hold. Obviously, we haven't done one of those since December. So right now I'm working on trying to get that content like the dating show and that's already been filmed, you know, stuff that I can get out to the people out while I got the time here.
Nice.
So
Nice.
that's
bro.
that.
Bro,
You know, we're always working on stuff, different ideas. So, I mean, you never know what you'll see from us. We got some educational stuff that I don't handle that some other people do, and, you know, some blogs and some all sorts of shit. Check all that out at talkingseaweed.com if anyone wants to.
man, you know, bro, like you know, you've always been inspiring to me because you're always active into something, man, and you're always around, and you've always been really supportive of the Boston scene, my career included, man. You know, it's just like I don't see Boston without your name involved. You know what I mean? And it's cool, man, that you've had the drive and the passion to be one of those characters in the circle, in our Boston movement circle. Even though I'm not there, Boston will always be another home to me, and y'all will always be part of my family no matter where I'm at, man. So it's good to talk to you, man. And we're gonna leave it on this note. What is your message to somebody younger, to the youth that's interested in doing what you do? What's your message to them? What do you want to tell them?
Um, uh, you know, just do it. Like, you know, it's cliche, but just shoot. Like, if your idea is not complete or you don't think something's done, like done, you know, a lot of people I hear done's better than, you know, not done or whatever, you know, just do it is really like, it's cliche. I wish I said something else because that's already a slogan that everyone's familiar with. But, you know, in a sense of like, don't overthink it. Just practice. Not everything you do has to be put on the internet. Not everything has to be seen, you know, shoot stuff, start editing, just work on your ideas. Always keep studying stuff because technology changes and things are going to make your life and your ideas so much easier next week when they drop an update on some software or something. Constantly, you know, you just got to love what you do. Otherwise, you know, if it feels like a job, you're going to eventually slack, you know. So I find myself slacking on things that I'm not in love with, and that's why I try to, you know, pick and choose what I can do, but you don't have that luxury when you're just starting out. So, you know, do stuff you like, do it for free if you have to. Stay in love with it and just get shit done and you know, move on to the next thing. Cause you're not, you know, it's art. It's never going to be done. Just keep it moving is really the best thing I could say.
Just do it and keep it moving.
Keep it moving, player.
I dig it. I dig it, man. I appreciate talking to you today. Tell the world your social media links. How do people come into the Rose Glen world?
At Rose Glen _ on Instagram and YouTube Rose Glen Productions. I think that's really all you need to know. You can find everything else from those pages if you're interested, or roseglen.me has direct links to everything and, you know, some past work, kind of a portfolio up there. So however you want to get at me, you can. talkingseaweed.com for all the weed stuff. And currently involved with Boston Cannabis Week too, bostoncannabisweek.com if you're interested in that sort of thing. We trying to figure out what the deal is for 2020, obviously. But
worked out eventually, man. Well, dude,
yeah,
thank you for being a part of this Gabbin with the Guvna with Jay Tronius, the governor of the galaxy. Rose Glen Productions was in the building. Peace and love, fam. You be good. Stay motivated. Keep doing what you do. I look forward to working with you in the future. Let's keep doing what we do, and let's keep putting it out there. Let's keep doing it, and let's keep it moving, Cat Daddy.
absolutely, buddy. Take care. Thanks for having me.
Peace, brother.